In this video, we'll be looking at the chilling case of Sasha Samsudean, a 27-year-old woman who was living a peaceful life and was succeeding in her life. This young woman was described as nice, sweet, and hardworking by all her friends and coworkers. They did not expect her to hurt anyone or to have any sort of enemies. So, do you guys want to know what actually happened, and was Sasha actually nice or not? Watch this video till the end and find out for yourself. Before diving into the main case, let's first discuss Sasha and try to get to know her a little bit. Sasha was raised and grew up in Central Florida, and she started her job in Orlando as the social media manager for Pearson, which was an educational firm. Sasha graduated from the University of Florida. She also worked as a volunteer for an apartment association in Greater Orlando. After graduation, Sasha moved to Orlando, the place that is known as the dance floor of Central Florida because of all the night parties, and sadly, this story of Sasha Samsudean was also one of the after-party crime scenes. Sasha was doing great in her job, and soon in her career she was promoted to Director of Operations in the Pearson Company. The co-workers of Sasha described her as hardworking, and some also said that people underestimated the skills and capabilities of Sasha mostly because of her looks, which, in opinion, is a bizarre thing, but sadly, we all live in the world where people judge you on how you look. Sasha was living in an apartment in North Orland Avenue in an uptown neighborhood. The building was a high-profile place with many amenities, such as a gym and a swimming pool, as well as high-security features such as a digital lock on each apartment that can only be accessed by a specific code. There are surveillance cameras on every corner and a night guard. Who would have thought that anyone could be killed in such a high-security building? But who knew that the people we trust with our lives could be the ones who take it mercilessly? Sasha chose this place to be her home because she thought that after being out of the house for a long day, this place would be a safe place to have a good sleep. The night of October 16, 2015. Sasha's last night in this world was October 16, 2015. It was a Friday evening, and she went out with her friends to have a few drinks and enjoy her night. They went to Attic Nightclub. Sasha led her friends at the nightclub at around 12:30 a.m. Her friends later revealed that it was normal for them to leave separately and even go to other bars.
We did that often. We'd separate for a little bit or meet back up.
So her friends bid her goodbye, but sadly, it was the last time they would be seeing her. Sasha was supposed to meet her friend Anthony for breakfast the next morning, but she didn't show up. This behavior was not expected of Sasha, and her friend Anthony was really surprised. He called and texted her, but she didn't respond. He got more curious, so he contacted other friends and told them about this. They all assumed that maybe she could not wake up in the morning because she had excessive drinks the last night. So they were not much bothered. But this was not the only commitment that Sasha had to fulfill that day. She was also supposed to attend one of her friend's baby showers. The party started, but Sasha didn't appear there either. This was enough for her friends to get even more concerned. So they decided to go to her apartment and check on her by themselves. When they reached there, they knocked on the door, but nobody responded. They found Sasha's car in the parking lot, and they also saw the gift which she had bought for the baby shower on the back seat. Her friends decided to call the authorities and get her apartment opened by force. The police arrived on the scene shortly and got the apartment checked. When the police entered the apartment, they were surprised to see that everything in the apartment was completely fine and normal. They continued to double-check everything. Even the bedroom was clean, and there was no signs of Sasha inside it. One of the officers noticed that the blanket was rolled up in an odd position, and soon he found that there were long hairs on the bedsheet. After having a closer look at the blanket, the officer was stunned and was in complete shock when he saw an arm hanging out of the blanket. Yes, it was Sasha. Her body was rolled up in the blanket. Her body showed signs of struggle and sexual assault. Near the body, the police also found a packet of condoms. The whole apartment was washed with some sort of chemical, which was obviously done to hide the evidence of DNA. But the murderer was not so smart because he left some big evidence behind, like a 9-size shoe print near the body, and at the toilet seat, 2 clear thumbprints were also found. The discovery of a 27-year-old body shocked and saddened the police. They got out of the apartment, and the look at their faces was enough for Sasha's friends to know that their friend was no longer with them. Now comes the part that you, I, and every other person have been waiting for, the investigation. This part is important because this is what leads to justice for the departed. The police found security cameras on all floors of the apartment building. There were cameras in the halls and near the exits. They also took the security footage from the street cameras. Sasha would have had to walk 10 blocks home on Orange Avenue, which is the downtown strip of road in downtown Orlando. They also interviewed the security guard from the apartment complex who was on duty the night Sasha died. His name was Stephen Duxbury. He said he saw Sasha that night because she was trying to get into the building. He said she didn't have her cell phone or key fob and couldn't remember her code to get in. He said she was very intoxicated, but she asked him to walk her to her car to see if her things were in there. He said they walked out, but then she remembered her code, but it still didn't work. He told the police he had to get back to his work, but she must have gotten in behind some other residents because she didn't see her again. The roads of Orlando are filled with CCTV cameras, so the police gathered at the Attic nightclub where Sasha went with her friends on the night of her murder. She exited the nightclub and was seen stumbling. She was drunk and alone. The footage was cut off because of a glitch. The video continued after 6 seconds where Sasha was seen standing, but not alone, but with 2 other women. These women were unknown, as Sasha's friends did not recognize them as any of Sasha's other friends or coworkers. They obviously had seen Sasha drunk and alone, and who would leave a person in this situation alone? People's intentions, on the other hand, can vary. Some can take advantage and some can give advantage. These 2 women were the ones who gave her an advantage, because during the investigation, the police displayed images of these 2 women with Sasha and summoned them to see if they would come forward, and they did. Both women appeared before the investigators and told them the whole situation. They told me that when they saw Sasha, she was not in a good condition because she was overly drunk and was about to get into a car with 4 to 5 men, so they decided to go and offer her help.
But as we were leaving, saw her walking by herself and was very concerned just because she seemed extremely intoxicated. And there was a car of men who had rolled down their window and started to talk to her. I walked up and kind of took her arm and said, like, do you know where you're going? And you could tell she didn't really know what was going on. And so at that moment got her to get into an Uber with us.
This was an act of kindness, often displayed by women to help their fellow girls in danger. They said she didn't have her ID or cell phone, so they offered to share their Uber. They said that once Sasha saw that they were at her apartment, she leapt out of the car and they didn't see her again because they thought that now she was in her apartment building and she was safe. Both women left after dropping her off. Next in the footage, Sasha is seen at 1:46 a.m. going to her apartment. Another man, who turned out to be a concerned resident, asks her if she's okay and she replies yes. He is not seen again on the tapes, ruling him out of the suspected investigation. In the footage, Sasha is again seen at 2:06 a.m. and this time she is running. If we hear the audio, we can clearly notice that Sasha was making abnormally high noises with her shoes. After this, Sasha is seen in the security footage at 2:25, but this time she was not alone. Instead, the security guard, Stephen Duxbury, can be seen with her. They are seen walking to and from the garage, like he told the police. As of right now, his story checks out, so for now we can exclude him from the suspect line. So, who else? Yes, you guessed it right, ex-boyfriends, because most of these crimes are based on jealousy and passion. So after asking Sasha's friends, the police got to know that Sasha had been in relationships twice in the past few years. Taylor was one of her ex-boyfriends, and Ben was another. Ben was the person who was contacted by Sasha just a few minutes before she died. Sasha had sent him a text message saying his name at 5:12 a.m. The text read, Ben, but he didn't respond for the next 16 minutes. He said he and Sasha briefly dated and were supposed to hang out that weekend but didn't. He said he was at a friend's house all night on Friday and never left.
Yeah, text message, the last kind of back and forth we had was around 1 in the morning, but I got a message from her at 5:12 a.m. Just said my name, and then I responded about 16 minutes later, and I never heard back from her after that. She said to come to Sidebar now, and I said to come hang out over where I was. I was at a house with some friends, and then she said where, and then she said Ben, and I said Sasha, you okay? And she said yes, of course, and that was right around 1 o'clock, and I said okay, we should come hang out whenever you're ready. And then that was the last I heard from her until 5:12 a.m.
When investigators asked him if he still had feelings for Sasha, he responded that he had this deep down feeling that one day they would get back together. After the investigations, his DNA was also not a match, and he was rolled out. So, now the next person on the list is her recent ex, Taylor. He was a bartender. When questioned about his whereabouts, he stated that he worked at a bar at night and returned home at 1 a.m. to sleep.
Do you know where you were last Saturday? Around 1 o'clock in the morning. I was home. I got off of work Friday night at about 9:30. I had bartended because there were some bartenders that needed to take some time off, so I picked up a shift for them. Do you have any problem giving us a buccal swab of DNA? I have no problem.
He also let them take a DNA sample, and after getting the results, he was also ruled out. Who was the murderer? So far, no one has been identified as the perpetrator. So, who did this? Till now, there were no leads in the investigation, so after having a deeper meeting and digging into the case, the investigators were now left with only one suspect, Stephen Duxbury. He told investigators that he left work at 6 a.m. when he was summoned, but he is seen inside the building at 6:36 a.m. in the video. He can be seen carrying 2 garbage bags that are white in color and have red handles. These are the details that all of you should keep in mind, because as we move forward in the video, you will match them to the crime scene by yourself. First of all, the alarming moment is why the security guard is carrying out trash bags. Is it his duty to take out the garbage? No. They asked Stephen to take a polygraph, which will be used to expose the real face of this security guard. The needle jumped when he asked if he was in Sasha's apartment and if Sasha was strangled. The police found it odd, and Stephen said that no, he didn't get inside Sasha's apartment.
Here are the questions I'm going to ask you about that night. Okay. Did you enter Sasha's apartment that night? No. Do you know if Sasha was poisoned? No. Was she stabbed? No. Was she choked? No.
During the investigation, he portrayed himself as the most innocent man by telling the police that he had never gone inside anyone's apartment, even when people asked him to. A woman once sexually manipulated him so she could get him into her apartment, but he refused. He explained to the police that the story he told earlier during the investigation was right, and he was trying to help Sasha get inside her apartment. One major concern for investigators was how he got into the apartment because the door required a code to be unlocked. It was later found out that he searched on Google, and by trying different codes, he got access and was successful in getting inside Sasha's apartment. He was asked why he was seen carrying garbage bags out of the building, to which he replied that he was trying to do the sweeper a favor. This reply was obviously a stupid one. Later, it was confirmed that these garbage bags were the exact same as those used by Sasha to fill up the garbage. Then, he was asked if he had any previous criminal history or had ever been in jail, to which he replied yes, and told the story of the time he was arrested instead of someone else and was later set free without any charges. At this point, I'm seriously wondering how this man was able to fulfill his duties of a security guard, as if no one ever got a bad vibe from him and he had never disturbed any female residents before. After talking to the residents, the police get to know that many female residents of the building had complained about him, but no action had ever been taken, and he had harassed and followed many other female residents as well. So far, Duxbury was the best possible suspect. His polygraph results supported the suspicion, as he was found to be just 3% truthful in all the questions. After investigating his apartment, a sneaker of size 9 was found, and the print was the exact same as that found on the floor of Sasha's apartment. This was lead number 1. Now for the second lead, the fingerprints. Yes, the fingerprints discovered on the toilet seat matched Stephen's right thumb. Last but not least, lead number 3, the lead that put the last nail in the coffin, the DNA results. Yes, the DNA results of Stephen's were those found on the chest of Sasha. So, it was the security guard, the person who was supposed to keep the lives of residents safe, who strangled, raped, and killed Sasha. Steven's arms bore visible signs of trauma, one of which was clearly a bite.
Sasha had disappeared off social media. When police entered Sasha's apartment, they found her dead in her bedroom, wrapped up in a comforter.
I turn around and I see hair sticking out from underneath the comforter.
Steven even told the police that he had a medical condition that caused these, but now all the lies were in vain. Steven was arrested for first-degree murder, attempted sexual battery with physical force, and burglary of a dwelling with assault and battery. Steven Duxbury was sentenced to 2 life sentences for first-degree murder and rape, and an additional 15 years of burglary. Before Steven Duxbury was sentenced in November 2017, Sasha Samsudean's parents offered emotional statements to the judge at the Orange County Courthouse. Her mother, Tara Samsudean, said she had quit her job as an emergency room nurse because she was having a hard time treating rape victims. She added that she will never have a Last Supper with her beloved daughter, and her father won't be able to walk her down the aisle. And she said that at every wedding she attends, she thinks of her daughter. She then thanked the police for cooperating in finding the murderer. And she said that her daughter will always be remembered. This video concludes with many condolences for Sasha's friends and family. Sasha was a hardworking person who wanted to go out and have fun. She got home safely only to be brutally murdered in her own home. Steven clearly thought Sasha was flirting with him or interested in him just because she needed help and was talking to him for a brief moment. He had absolutely no right to enter her safe place and violate her. We feel so bad for her family and friends, but we are glad this monster is off the streets because he probably would have done it again, and we all hope that no innocent lives are taken anymore and these monsters ever succeed in their dirty aims.